We would like to thank the CFO Chatterquest for this incredible opportunity. My name is Sizwe.
My name is Moshe.
And my name is Yaakov. We are
Team Ivy
from Ivy Academy.
We want to inspire other high school individuals to take on this exciting and challenging project.
We enjoy challenges, and this was a perfect initiative for us to fulfill a never-ending quest for problem solving.
We seized the opportunity presented to us by the CFO Chatterquest Institute and used it to our advantage to explore and push the boundaries to our business and financial skills.
We have really learned how to balance our academics and expectations of school with the demands of Chatterquest.
We have learned how to apply academic theory to the business environment.
We have learned how to overcome our fears and believe in our work and abilities.
I aim to become a qualified actuarial scientist.
My goal is to become a qualified chartered accountant with a BCom degree.
I hope to one day own the biggest corporate group and attain degrees in my desired fields of study.
Using the CFO Chatterquest as a national platform, we aim to attain global recognition and achieve our dreams.
The CFO is the stepping stone to boost our careers. Would you not like to place the future of your company into our hands?
The Msimango case, researched, designed and developed by the Chatterquest Institute, is based on a real-world multinational business within the global metal and mining industry. It simulates the strategic decisions its group CFO and board faced or potentially faces. The group is faced with a complex interplay of strategic threats, weaknesses and opportunities, some of which are embedded with serious ethical dilemmas, involving compelling individuals and powerful stakeholders that create a context for significant organizational change. The board has published a 3-year viability statement and turnaround strategy with emphasis on 4 policy objectives. 1. Restructure the portfolio. 2. Deleverage the balance sheet. 3. Drive operational discipline. And 4. Change dividend policy. 6 major issues have surfaced that require the group's attention, for which the board has asked the teams to prioritize, evaluate, and offer strategic advice. Managing divisional performance group-wide. A strategic performance measure relied upon to evaluate and reward executives appears to be creating some dysfunctional behaviors with unintended consequences. The CFO junior aspirants were required to apply business studies as well as accounting. Strategic joint venture decision in Canada. A native Aboriginal group in Canada has been on rampage against mining companies, singling out Msimango for exploiting mineral resources with too little benefit accruing to their clan. A number of mining companies, including Amango, are going into JV arrangements to mitigate this risk and undertake coal mining projects following resurgence in coal prices. There is need to decide on the best configuration for the mining infrastructure, amongst others. The CFO junior aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to economics as well as business studies. Strategic disposal in Brazil. Amango, as part of an ongoing asset restructuring program, has received a $1.5 billion offer to buy one of its subsidiaries in Brazil. The offer needs to be evaluated taking into account its interconnection with the corporate reconstruction and reorganization issue. The CFO junior aspirants were required to apply economics, accounting, as well as business studies, balance sheet deleverage or share repurchase. Amango's iron ore and coal disposal plans in South Africa has come under attack by the PIC, its single largest shareholder, who is threatening to dump its shares in the market if it proceeds with the disposal plan. In a separate development, the government is about to promulgate a new set of mining regulations that will impose a 10% royalty tax on the turnover of all mining companies and require them to surrender 26% of their ownership to historically disadvantaged persons as part of its Black Economic Empowerment (BEE) policies. The company is considering to rather sell part of its residential property portfolio to a BEE group and use the funds to meet specified objectives. The CFO junior aspirants were required to apply accounting, economics, and business studies, operational risk, and industrial action in Australia. A controlled shutdown has been hurriedly effected in one of the group's mines in Australia, with 560 personnel evacuated due to safety concerns. 6 are reported dead, and 80 miners trapped in deep underground mines have been rescued. The incident has invited us notice to strike from the trade unions, and there is a protected strike that is already in motion. The CFO junior aspirants were required to apply accounting and business studies, corporate reconstruction and reorganization. There is a fierce board debate over the strategic direction of the group, impacting on the decision as to which businesses to sell and which ones to keep. The CFO junior aspirants were required to apply accounting and business studies. Best wishes to the teams.
Okay, so it's Team Ivy. Good luck, guys.
Greetings. We'll be addressing the 6 critical challenges facing Amango. We will then give recommendations that will pull Amango back from the brink of failure. Amango is a mining metals and giant company that has been in operation for over 9 decades, with its mission to work with shareholders and key stakeholders to create sustainable value that makes a tangible difference. Amango has fully pledged to the principles of corporate governance and integrated reporting. Amango expresses its basic business model into key 7 pillars, and these are safety and health, environment, socio-political, people, production, cost, and financial. From these pillars of value, we have prioritized Amango's issues from the most critical to the critical. We have then dissected and analyzed each issue and gave recommendations. We'll then look at the ethical dilemmas facing Amango. And as we proceed with our presentation, we'll touch on the SWOT components of Amango. Our first issue is the managing divisional performance in Amango, or rather, managing divisional performance group-wide. Amango has been rewarding its executives with bonuses. The objective, though, was to motivate and inspire excellence. However, this objective has not been realized due to the complacency and incompetence of managers. This has led to our three major causes, or problems rather. These are the postponing of standard service, cutting down of workers, and managers have not been recording financial transactions. I'll now look at the sub-causes in great detail. The first one is the postponing of standard service for SCE, the safety critical equipment. As much as the safety critical equipment is important to Amango, so is standard service. Standard service is the service that shareholders and key stakeholders are entitled to. However, the manager's inattention to this system has led to issues such as a loss of valuable customers, investors, and low profits for Amango. The second issue is that they are cutting down on workers. This has led to industrial actions by the workers that have been cut down, salary increment demands by the workers that have not been laid off, as they may assume that Amango has more money after cutting down on other workers. This also invites potential media scandals, and the media could dish that on Amango. The third issue is that managers are not recording financial transactions onto the online financial system. This has created misleading financials. Amango cannot identify debtors, creditors, and so on. And it has also created a flawed internal control in Amango. We recommend that Amango should cut down on bonuses and focus more on standard service. We should prioritize our SCE, this is our safety critical equipment, comply with the Safe Worker Act of Australia, and we should not cut down on our workers. And to fix the financial issue, we should hire external financial auditors to come in and ensure accuracy in our financial standings. Our second issue is the operational risk and industrial action in Australia. Amango has recently established a new mine in Australia, which, however, unfortunately failed to operate within its first week due to poor geotechnical design. This has led, we need a solution. We can either take the CEO's decision or the expert's decision. We'll use a force-field analysis to come up with a solution. Looking at our negatives, we can clearly see that the CEO's decision leads to a lot of negatives. This is the eventual collapse of the mine, leading to loss of lives and the business's image. It will lead to loss of investors, and Amango could be fined for non-compliance with the SWA of Australia. On the other hand, the expert's decision will only result in a maximum of $200 million loss within the 2 years of fixing the errors, and maybe a loss of some investors. Let us now look at the positives. We can clearly see that the expert's decision has many positives compared to the CEO's decision. Amango will have ample time to reinforce its geotechnical design and come back with a safer working environment in the interest of shareholders and stakeholders. Amango may attract more investors, and it will have a large pool of employees to select from once it reopens. However, when looking at the CEO's decision, we can see that Amango will not suffer a 250,000 daily losses. However, as proven, this is only a momentary advantage, as the business will eventually collapse. Therefore, we have decided that the final solution stems from the expert's decision: shut down and fix the geotechnical errors.
Corporate reconstruction and reorganization. How should Amango reconstruct and reorganize their business in the light of falling commodity prices and the economic downturn in China? Challenges under the market environment. Amango is used to selling an average of $2 to $3 billion in. I'm sorry. The PIC is questioning Amango's policies of selling assets too frequently. The PIC is also threatening Amango that they will disinvest in the business if this continues. Obviously, Amango finds this difficult because, first, it needs to cover their long-term debt and also ensure that both the PIC and the South African citizens benefit. We've come up with recommendations that Amango should sell some of its mining companies to South African citizens. Minerals like Coal Limited, Copper Limited, Novium Phosphates Limited, Iron Ore and Manganese Limited sell at the highest at this time of the year. So if Amango sells these minerals, they'll be able to cover off their long-term debt.
Strategic joint venture decision in Canada. Amango intends to resume mining operations in Canada despite industrial protest and unstable commodity prices. They have decided to go through with the joint venture with the US-owned private international mining practice called CFOs. The above graph demonstrates changes in coal demand and coal costs. With this in mind, Amango faces the following issues: the inability to raise enough financial resources to spend on coal, decreasing coal demand because of coal is being demanded on a minimum level, unstable commodity prices, and decrease in coal sales. Our strategy has included the Delphi technique. We have looked at all three construction options and have decided that option 3 is the best option for Amango, mainly because it attracts large investors, has an equilibrium point, and is high in sales and profit.
Strategic disposal in Brazil. Amango is part of an ongoing asset restructuring program and has received an offer of $1.5 billion to buy one of its subsidiaries in Brazil. The key board decision dilemma is that Amango should dispose of their businesses in Brazil. Challenges under the market environment. Amango is used to selling an average of $2 to $3 billion of shares to the public. However, due to competition from other mining industry, Amango is unable to sell these shares. This will result in Amango having to sell their shares at a lower price that they intend to, and this will enable Amango to reach their price target. The recommendations and action plan that we come up with is that Amango should accept the offer received from the CMOC and acquire the Niobium and Phosphates Limited. If Amango acquires these Niobium and Phosphates Limited, they'll gain a competitive advantage over other mining industries. Alternatively, we've also calculated the solvency ratio to 10 to 1 respectively. If Amango is unable to acquire the Niobium and Phosphates Limited, they should reconsider selling their assets, and by selling their assets, they'll acquire enough funding to cover off their long-term liability of 270 million Brazilian real, and the remainder they can use to settle off their debt of less than $10 billion.
Amango intends to sell off coal and iron ore in order to pay off long-term debt. The following pie chart represents the various land divisions in which we have incorporated into our final solution, which follows shortly. In addition, Amango faces major issues from its largest investor, the South African Public Investment Corporation. We have cited that this move may cause a sharp dip in their economic investments. They also fear that the new owners of this coal and iron ore will underestimate its true value. And finally, they have threatened to disinvest in Amango by the end of 2017. Amango also faces issues in the macro environment, largely legislative, because the South African government has incorporated new mining laws which state that every mining company should give up at least 26% of their land for black South Africans for residential purposes. The BEE Act also states that every mining industry should give up at least 10% of their revenue for 10% of their sales to government revenue. With this in mind, we have suggested that Amango come up with a strategic response. Instead of selling off coal and iron, they should rather come up with land divisions. 35.5% of the land should be given to black South Africans for residential purposes, and 14.5% of the land should be given to employees to avoid any labor disputes. The 10% loss that Amango incurs will not hurt Amango's profits in the long run. Ethics. Managing divisional performance group-wide. Amango continues to lay off employees while top-level executives continue to get salary increments even though they neglect their duties and abuse office hours. As such, we recommend that Amango make sure that every one of their employees understands the code of good governance. We also hope that Amango has strategies in place to make sure that all management understands what theft is. And finally, we hope that Amango will make sure that all management understands what is and isn't permitted in the workplace. Finally, operational risk and industrial action in Australia. The CEO's decision to continue mining operations in Australia will eventually lead to the collapse of a mine, and this will contribute to pollution and global climate change and will negatively impact the environment. We recommend that Amango discontinue mining operations and go green, as suggested by experts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Team Ivy. Interesting presentation. Guys, as the board, the more you highlight these challenges, tell me, as the board, don't you think we need to fire all these executives? If not, why not? And again, you are suggesting that we cut down on bonuses. In your own understanding, what is the objective of Amango having the bonus scheme? And what would be the impact of cutting down the bonuses? As Amango, third question. As Amango, we are listed, we're a JSE listed company, regulated, and we need to comply to certain regulations. And you are suggesting that I need to hire external auditors. Are you telling me that in some of my companies, there are no external auditors?
With regards to your first question, the more salary increments you are giving to your top level management, this means that you're cutting your financial resources, meaning that you will not have enough money to continue long-term operations. And secondly, please rephrase your second question. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay. The second question was on bonuses.
Yes.
Do you understand the objective of the bonus scheme and what would be the impact of cutting the bonus? And third question on external auditors. Are you telling me that we don't have external auditors in our companies?
With the objective of raises is to make sure that your top level management continue to work at the optimum level. However, if you're going to reward them for doing nothing, does that not mean that your business is condoning substandard work? And finally, with your third question, my teammate Sizwe will take that one.
The reason for bringing in external auditors is clearly due to the fact that the managers which we expect to do to audit the finances are not doing it. They're neglecting it. So we cannot leave it at that. We need to hire external auditors to ensure that they do what our managers are failing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Ivy. A good presentation. If I heard you well at the beginning, you said that you are going to present the problems according to the priority. Is that right? Can you justify why you have chosen the first three as the most important ones?
We've used the priorities, or rather the pillars that Amango has set out for us, from environment to cost, and the first issues happen to fall under the first three pillars. So that's why the first three pillars, the first three issues were as we presented them. Thank you.
Thank you, Team Ivy. It's no mean feat to do this with one of your team members not here, so well done, first of all. Then in terms of your summary piece, where you talk through after challenge number 6 and deleveraging your balance sheet, what it is you would sell from a business perspective and the split between property sold and to whom, just wanted to link that back to your earlier challenge number 3, where you recommend selling coal, copper, no PM phosphates, iron ore and manganese, and maybe trying to understand the decision around which ones to sell, and based on the workings you've got there, how you prioritized the order of those. Just wanted to understand, and in the next slide later on you summarize you'll sell them and why. I just wanted to understand the order and how this then ties into your deleverage, your balance sheet, where you say you're going to actually sell 2.
With regards to the deleverage of our balance sheets, we have advised that Amango not sell those final 2 options. 1, because it would not be financially liable, and number 2, our investors would pull out. And that would mean Amango would have a shortage of resources. So that is why we have ordered them in that regard.
So they'll not sell those 2, then which ones would you sell? Yeah, all of the other 4 of the 6?
No, would sell the coal limited, copper limited, and the Nobium Phosphates limited.
Okay, that's clearer. Thank you. And then I just have a question on your content, and it is your second last slide. In terms of the Australian operations, we've got a potential strike from the unions in 7 days, and you're suggesting that we completely shut down operations and go green. What does that mean?
We are essentially looking at the long-term effects of climate change and pollution. Because remember, the environment is something that we care deeply for, and it has been included in Amango's 7 pillars. So we suggest that they shut down in order for us to maintain our natural resources, because, like we said, they are very limited.
To conclude on that, as we have stated, that the mine will eventually collapse. So once it collapses, that will increase greenhouse gases. It will increase climate change. That's the reason why we're saying we should go green. Going green means not adding onto the carbon footprint that's already there.
I got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done, guys. I love the energy. Congratulations. Just around the people and the staff, we're quite a unionized, well, in fact, most of the staff are unionized. How would you suggest we deal with the unions dealing with a lot of these issues? And why would you suggest that?
In what we have been taught in business is that every workplace should have a representative that deals directly with the trade unions. So I suggest that representative handle the negotiations between the internal environment of the business and the trade unions.